Mr. Chairman, depending on which source one follows, it has been estimated that Irma caused over 1.8 to 2 billion US dollars in economic damage on St. Maarten. Consequently, and even with a trust fund sponsored by the Netherlands in the amount of 550 million euros to finance the National Recovery and Resilience Plan, as well as the damage payouts by insurance companies and investments made by citizens and local corporations, one thing is sure: we still have an enormous financial shortfall of several $100 million for the reconstruction of St. Maarten's economy and infrastructure over the next few years. Given the fragile situation of St. Maarten's economy, we must applaud those investors that believe in St. Maarten and the resilience of our economy, especially the local institutions. That is why, as a former member of this respected House, I was very much encouraged last October when I learned that APS would embark on a fast-track project implementation program to contribute to the reconstruction of St. Maarten in the coming years. By putting its shoulders under the reconstruction of the economy of St. Maarten through a speedier process for third-party project approval and the shortening of the duration of projects it undertakes, and because of its capital base, APS can play an essential role in stimulating the economy of St. Maarten. Not only will there be an acceleration of project implementation, but this would also have a positive effect on various economic sectors and the labor market in St. Maarten in the post-Irma period. These measures will, in turn, be favorable for the future financial position of the government because of the collection of wage and profit taxes connected to the increased economic activity. As a result, the government's deficit, which grew post-Irma, will slowly but gradually decrease over time. However, fast-tracking has to consider the external and internal limitations imposed upon the fund. In fast-tracking their projects, the APS is, for instance, dependent on the ability of the government to issue the necessary building and other permits on time. And furthermore, as future recipients of pension payable by the APS, we will all want to ensure that, as a pension fund, the APS continues to adhere to the applicable good governance principles and standards in safeguarding the pension entitlements of its members. Therefore, even when projects are expedited because of St. Maarten's current situation post-Irma, APS must continue to have due regard for the long-term interest of the participants of the fund when making its investments. When I became Minister of Finance, I quickly visited APS to be informed of the state of affairs within the fund, how it fared post-Irma, and what contributions it was making since Irma, given its promise to fast-track its large projects to help in the reconstruction of St. Maarten's economy. I was delighted to hear that APS, that they have identified and are very much in control of the challenges to the fund, which are mainly of an external nature. These challenges include the outstanding arrears of government to the APS and the ongoing discussion on the division of assets with the pension fund in Curaçao, as well as the need of pension reform in St. Maarten due to the consequences of an aging population. Addressing these challenges will protect the future financial position of the fund. But despite all these challenges, management and the board of APS have demonstrated that they are committed to the fast-tracking implementation strategy, which, due to consideration of the fund's primary responsibilities and interest. I was particularly happy to learn that APS was considering the implementation of a new St. Maarten investment bank, which could become a game changer through the attraction or facilitation of the necessary funds to accelerate the economic development of St. Maarten into a regional powerhouse in the years to come. Mr. Chairman, APS commitment to implement the necessary projects, especially their focus on different economic areas, varying from construction sector to housing to the tourism sector and the healthcare sector, gives me additional hope that we will have people and institutions on this island that are willing and able to take on the challenges of revitalization of the economy of St. Martin in a sustainable way. That is why I readily accepted the invitation from the Secretary General on your behalf to join you and your members here today, together with the representatives of APS, to present the members of your esteemed committee with the necessary information on the projects thus far undertaken by APS and their contribution to the further development of St. Martin. Mr. Chairman, may I suggest that the representatives of APS make a presentation on the way the fund has fared since IRMA occurred, and share information on which projects they have been pursuing to actively contribute to the reconstruction of the economy of St. Martin. And of course, after the presentation, I am at the members' disposal for answering any questions that you have for us or to the representatives of APS. And I thank you very much.
Connecting you.
GEBE has been faithfully serving the communities of St. Martin, powering your home and our economy. Come rain or shine, our qualified team of professionals are working hard 24 hours a day to provide you and your family with safe, reliable electricity and water. We use the latest technologies and test our products daily to maintain the highest international standards. Our friendly staff is always there to assist you, whether in person, over the phone, or online. We are committed to constantly improving our products and services, making them more efficient, effective, and environmentally friendly to serve you better today and our next generation of clients tomorrow. GEBE, powering a brighter future.
Our friend Megawati is here with tips to save you energy. 1. Turn your airco temperature up. 2. Use a ceiling fan instead. 3. Buy energy-saving products. Save some green with NVGE.
Thank you, Chairman. I would like to also thank the members of Parliament, the honorable members of Parliament, for this opportunity to be here in this House to give an elucidation on the current endeavors of APS. So again, thank you very much. And also for those listening to the radio, to the internet, to this meeting, the public in general, I would also like to tell them to listen to the story we have to tell. Okay. So we've been invited here today to discuss our contribution and the effects of IRMA in the past few months here in St. Martin. And I would like to take you with me together on this presentation. I'm going to touch on a few topics. The first topic that I'm going to discuss is I'm going to give you a brief overview of APS, what we do. I will also indicate how our organization is organized. And then I'll move on, I think, to the most interesting part, which is the highlights of the financial position of APS as a whole. And then I will move on to the APS's investment policy and strategy, which I will definitely delve into and will give a lot of the answers I think the members are looking for. And I will round up with the main projects that APS is busy with at the moment, but I will also elucidate how we go about those projects by talking a little bit about the project policies and our strategies as a fund. So what does a pension fund do? Well, basically, three little things, because it's actually very simple. We basically receive premiums from our participating employers. So that is one task. We need to receive them, go after them sometimes, but we have to receive them. And once we have them, we need to do something with them. I often use the example of a loaf of bread. I ask people, try to remember how much a loaf of bread cost when you were a kid. Yeah, you'll have that in mind? I think so, right? Think about how much it costs right now. So basically, that's an analogy, because you can think, okay, if my bread cost 4 guilders back when I was a kid and it costs 7.50 now, by the time you have to go on pension, you have to make up for that little gap right there. So that is my job, basically, to try to make up for that gap. So what we do is we invest those premiums that we receive in solid investments, and we manage the risks involved. And the idea is, for all pension funds, not just APS, that by doing this, you can generate enough funds over time to pay out current and future pensions for the participants. I would like to talk a little bit about the organization now, and to start with our legal and regulatory framework. We were established by national ordinance on October 8, 2010, and we are a self-governing entity. We have a legal personality, a governing board, and that is appointed by the Minister of Finance. Our responsibilities, as I said, are to properly execute the national ordinance by collecting premiums, investing in collecting premiums, managing risks, and paying out pensions. We are accountable to the Minister of Finance of St. Martin. We are supervised by the Central Bank of Curaçao and St. Martin, and we are annually audited by the General Audit Chamber of St. Martin, and of course also our own external auditor and independent actuary. The organization is headed by an experienced 5-member board and chaired by, as you see to my right hand, the former Lieutenant Governor of St. Martin, Mr. Franklin Richards. The organization is as follows. We have a managing director and assistant MD. I'm the managing director. We have 17 staff members as per August 1st. I filled in a spot that was vacant for a couple of months. We were looking for a financial controller, so that's the last person to be added to the team. I'm very proud of that. We are a dedicated team of professionals. The APS focuses very much so on permanent education, on training. We also do that same thing for the board. We have strategic sessions. And we have one very important goal, and that is to be role models in St. Martin by following high standards of integrity. Just a quick look at how our organization is built up. Of the board, they are advised by two special committees, the investment committee and the audit committee. The investment committee gives a second opinion on investment opportunities and reports that we write, and the audit committee does an extra audit internally of our reports or whatever that can be on financial level. We have a compliance officer who ensures that our code of conduct is upheld. And then you have me, the managing director. I have a staff of experienced persons who have different specific expertise, such as the financial controller, as I mentioned earlier, legal officer, the board secretary, risk manager, which is something very new now. We're not even technically required yet to have a risk manager by the central bank, but in Holland it's like something very normal to be able to manage your risks better and know exactly what you're doing within the organization. So we have already implemented it. The board feels it's also very important to be on top of these things, so we don't need to wait until something is regulatory necessary. So we're working on that, and we also have the rest of the organization, which are the 4 departments within APS, which is the finance department, the investment department, projects department, and the pensions department.
Tell them, connecting you.
To the Prime Minister, I would like to know from your side where the government of St. Martin stands towards the international laws. When I say the international, based on the United Nations and the European agreement that Holland signed, that automatically that we, the 6 Dutch islands, falls under those agreements on freedom of press, the execution of the media houses doing their work. Because the incident with me, interrupting me doing my work, is going to put St. Martin on a blacklist the moment I file my complaint and my concern to the international body toward the violation of this agreements that Holland signed. Because I'm not going to take it easy as it is. Because maybe you all don't know, but my company is the Real Paparazzi BV. I have a CRIP number, I have a KVK number according to the laws of St. Martin. And every individual that lives on the island need to respect the international laws that the motherland, when I say the mother kingdom, then the kingdom signs that every partner have to obey to it, and nobody can abuse of the system. So I would like to know from your point as the Prime Minister, where are you aware of those, and where the government stands towards that?
Mr. Wilson, we do have 3 rounds of questions, so your next question can be directed in the second round. So
I
we'll
have a problem also, Prime Minister, with this, because this is a very important issue that happened to me today. So I think I want to ask you to bend the rules towards to my questions I have and my concern, if it's possible. It depends on your counsel what you decide. Thank you.
Thank you, Gromiko Wilson, owner of 721 News. Your question in regards to where does the government stands as it relates to international laws, the UN, European laws about freedom of press, and that St. Martin is basically a signatory, being part of the kingdom of such. I can state that because we are within the kingdom, we must respect all international laws regarding the freedom of press. So that is where the government stands as it relates to freedom of press. We're part of that treaty, those laws, and we must respect them as well as any law that is under international ruling. So that is my response to your question. As it relates to asking further questions, I believe that we should stick to what we do every day here. Every Wednesday, there's a first, second, and third round of questions. We will follow that. Should you need any more time, you can always make an appointment with my person or whichever one of the ministers, and you will be duly heard. But because of the time, let us just stick to what we usually do on every Wednesdays. But you will have an opportunity to ask more questions.
Can you explain, are there their own force as a second police force in St. Martin, or they came under the wing and operating under the coast police in St. Martin? Because during my incident, a major Koeiers told the Dutch police to remove the shackle from my hand. And he clearly stated to him, because I told him, je weiger opdracht van je meerderer. You are busy not complying with the order from your superior. He clearly said in Dutch that Koeiers, who is a local police officer, falls directly under KPS, is not his superior. And he was in the highest rank. He was the one over the entire incident, the crime scene. He was in charge. So that means he's not. Are the Dutch people, the Dutch police that's here, have their own agenda? Did they change the constitution of St. Martin or something, that the police force of Holland have their own? I said that they are their own body. That I want to know. And all victims of police brutality cannot get the name of the police officer. So right now, we are trapped because I don't know what the name of the two police officers. I asked the acting prosecutor, and she told me she can't give it to me. So I am sitting right here, don't know. I only have 2 pictures of them. It's like their name, but I need their name. I don't know if you can, not tell me now, but provide me it after. That's my question. My question is, if the police, the Dutch police, what's the agreement? And if the Dutch police are their own force, as the second police force in St. Martin? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wilson, for your question. There is only one police force, that's KPSM, St. Martin, and they all fall under the responsibility of Chef Caltron.
It's been said that behind every door, possibility awaits. How much possibility depends on which door you open first. Every day, we help our customers discover the possibilities in their lives. It all starts with a conversation. Scotiabank. Discover what's possible.
So the other thing is that we added a smaller bar to try and alleviate some of the pressure from the main bar. And that smaller bar will carry like water and beer, and then 2 kinds of mixed drinks. So it's going to be a Hennessy with something, I think it's a Hennessy cranberry and a rum punch. That's going to be available from that center truck.
That sounds like a great idea.
Yeah. So if you don't want to go to the line to get what you specifically normally drink, and you think that you feel like having a water, or that night you're drinking beer, you go straight to the smaller truck and they'll help you from there.
All right. And T-shirts, because we know that we just have a couple of days before we start to light up the road in our midnight sun T-shirts.
Yeah. Well, I just received last week the final shipment of T-shirts, so they're on sale, and UTS has them available. Both Van Dorp locations have them available as well. Caribbean Liquors has them available. Nowhere Special as well, and here at the main office.
Yeah, and the prices?
The prices, it actually varies depending on where you're going, because what some of the partners have done is they've branded it with some of what they normally sell. So UTS has incorporated it in free minutes. You get an additional, so you buy your shirt and then you get $20 worth of top up, and you get to choose some kind of carnival favor.
Wow.
Caribbean Liquors is also offering special flasks and a bottle of Stoli, or you choose a bottle of Hennessy. It depends on what it is that your preference is. So the outlets in question are stocked. And I always say to people, do not wait until Saturday to say you're looking for shirts, because
tell them about they have to come and get their shirts early to be able to bling it and fix it up.
You know,
I had my
believe me.
Don't tell them how long I had my shirt fixed.
Yes, you.
I'm always
Exactly.
early.
But and every year it's the same. You know, you always get somebody that wants the shirt on the last day. Oh, I made up my mind too late. Okay, well, you know, then you risk the chance of not getting it. But at like I said, at this point, the locations that I mentioned just now have been topped up for the week, and they're ready to go.
You fix your shirt, Bren?
I have a colleague of mine that she is a master designer.
Yeah.
And so she's
both know
done.
her.
Yeah, she's gonna kill me for saying. I'm not gonna mention her name because she's gonna kill me.
We're not gonna say it's Rosa.
We're not gonna say it's Rosa.
She's
But
the best in the West.
she is really good. And as a matter of fact, she was kind enough to do the one for Destrup.
Right. So when this,
And it's gorgeous. It's beautiful. In any event, so yeah, my shirt. She's doing my shirt as well, and I found the design that I wanted, and I said, "Can you do this?" She said, "Absolutely." I said, "Good,
exactly what you're
done."
doing. And so before we close off, are you thinking about next year, April?
Yes,
Oh
as
my
a
gosh.
matter of fact.
The 50th year.
The 50th year. As a matter of fact, I had a visit from one of the ladies that takes an entire section from me earlier this morning. She was here. And, you know, Bren, she came to get her shirt. But Bren, when we going to start to speak about Carnival? And I said,
just let me finish Saturday first.
One circus at a time.
Yeah. Yes.
You know, leave these, let this circus leave, and then we're going to deal with the next circus. So we're waiting on that to pass. So this week is going to be a bit charged for me, but after that we'll get together, and I'm hoping that we have something by November 11th. So
okay, Brian. Thank you very much. We wish you man.
Thank
Lots
you.
of fun, lighting up the road, and this year's is the Midnight Sun.
Yes, thank you so much, Beverly, and we look forward to a nice, a fun night, a safe night,
right.
which typically is what draws the crowd as well. You know, in addition to the performances, but it's
top-notch
really,
quality.
Yes,
Fun.
Yes, and that's what's fun about it.